Welcome to part 2 of my Notion tour of the Creative Compass, the template I've designed to help me balance play and productivity. In part 1, we looked at the big picture, how the template works, how to collect pursuits and experiences, and how to plan your year in a way that feels intentional rather than overwhelming. In this part, we're going to zoom in on how the Creative Compass helps you get past decision fatigue and spend more time actually doing the things you love. You'll find a link below to download the template for yourself, as well as a link to part 1 if you haven't watched it yet. With that, let's get into part 2 of the tour. So in the last video, we left off on the inspiration and creation area, and now today we're going to dive into the action area. So this area includes a collection of activities you've saved, so that you've saved in connection with experiences and pursuits, though they can also stand on their own. So for example, if it's just like a maintenance activity of reminding you to plan the next week, this area is home to all of those. It also includes tools to help you decide which one of those activities to do next. So a quick recap on what an activity is. So an activity in the Creative Compass is basically something you do regularly in connection with a pursuit or an experience. So when you're collecting a pursuit or an experience, you associate activities with them. For example, if an experience is a book that you're reading, then read would be the activity you're associating with it. And here we can also see, for example, with my experience illustration, I associate digital painting as one of the activities. So that is an activity. And each activity has different criteria to determine how many action points you can earn for that particular activity. So there is, of course, the mode. So whether it's a creative activity, a consumption-related one, an exploration one, etc. The energy level it takes to do that activity, how long it takes, and the creative impact. I really love this because it makes it possible to also then organize these activities based on how much effort they take, on the nature of the activity, the impact it has on you creatively, how long it takes to do. And we can see that represented in the activities section. So if I open that up, you'll see I have different views. One that organizes my activities by mode, by favorite experiences, the ones that are related to maintenance. So if I click on that, for example, my weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly activities, then any regular activities. We also have an action log. As I mentioned in the part 1 of the tour, actions are essentially logged instances of activities, and so you can see them reflected here. So if you ever made a mistake, you can just delete it from this list, and we'll have also any archived activities. Going back to the activities by mode view, we can search for an activity. We can also use a filter to filter by duration, impact. We can also filter by tags, by the experience type, by the pursuit category to find the exact type of activity or group of activities that we want to choose from if you're like in the mood for something in particular. Because as you can imagine, once you start adding experiences and pursuits to your Creative Compass, you'll have quite a few activities to choose from. But even with this organization system, it still might be tricky for you to choose what to do next. To help combat that decision fatigue and also help you do more of the things you love, also the ones that may have fallen by the wayside that you might have forgotten, the Creative Compass includes tools to help you choose what to do next. So first we have our random activity generator here. So if you click this button here, it'll generate a new random activity. So if I click that button, you'll see it tells me, okay, why don't you try playing Guild Wars 2 again? And in this case, roam in the area. So for Guild Wars 2, I collected more than just the standard play activity. There are more things that I think you can do. So in this case, the roam activity. If you don't like what it chose, well, there's a cooldown period of about 1 minute and then you can shuffle again. Then here we have the quick and easy list of things to do. These are 10 random activities that are low energy and take less than 10 minutes to do that you can choose from if you just want to get something off your list quickly. Every time you click this button, the list here will be shuffled. Then we have the long time no see tab, which ideally will always be empty because basically this shows you any activities that you've done before within the template, which you've checked off before, but you haven't done them again in the last 90 days. So this helps you rediscover any hobbies or activities that you may have enjoyed in the past, but may have forgotten. And so this keeps them front of mind. It's like, hey, remember you played the Guild 2 months ago. Do you want to maybe play that again? And then maybe one of my favorite tools to help me make a decision, make a conscious, intentional decision, is my creative priority matrix. So if I open that up, you'll see this tool helps you decide what to do next based on your energy levels and whether the activity is creative or not. So you have 4 different areas here. And you can imagine it like a graph where you have 4 different quadrants. So if you imagine a Y and an X axis here, then this would be on the lower part of the x-axis where you have lower energy. So here we have activities that are low energy but are creative. And then here we have activities that are low energy but are the consume mode. So you can imagine this is the lowest part of the x and y axis. And then if we go here, we have high energy. So further up the x-axis, we have increased energy consumption, but this is still consumption related activities. So in the sense of, maybe reading a book or attending an event. And then here we have activities that are high energy and also are creative. So this is like taking the most of your energy theoretically, but can also have the best payout because you're actually doing something creative, which you might want to do, but we want to balance things, right? We don't want creative burnout. And so that is why you can choose based on how you're currently feeling, what you're currently drawn to. You can select from these different buckets here based on what your creative priority is in the given moment. So that's how the creative priority matrix works and the action area as a whole. It basically just helps you choose what to do next and also remember things that you might love, but may have forgotten. Then we have the settings area. So I touched on this briefly in the first video, but I didn't go into too much detail. So I touched on these two bits, but you can also here, you can update the different prompts that are included in the different areas of the template. So for example, we have prompts to help you set your intention and prompts to help you reflect on your year, quarter, month, and week. And so if you change them here, then they will also be changed in those relevant time periods because these are synced blocks. And so that is how you can customize it. If you're like, okay, these yearly reflection prompts suck, I want to replace them with new ones, then you can easily do that. And then we also have here a space where we can change the creative season setting. So this is an optional feature I haven't touched on yet. Creative seasons are basically a way that let you define phases of focus in the Creative Compass. So where certain activity modes are prioritized. I mentioned before we have the modes explore, play, consume, create, reflect, and maintain. You can determine certain time periods for 4 different seasons. You can have the season discover, where explore related activities are prioritized. We can have the season of play, where play and consume related activities are at the forefront or encouraged. And we have the creation season, where, as the name says, it's where you predominantly want to do activities where creating something is involved. And then rest, where reflecting or maintaining the status quo are the main activities that you want to do. And so as it explains here already as well, when a season is active, activities that match its mode receive a multiplier. So this increases the action points that they can get and gives them a greater weight. And via this section here, you can set the modifier to a certain number. So it has to be a number greater than 1 to actually have an effect. And then below here as well, you can then assign the time periods for each season, so the time range. So let's say I want my season of discovery to be from January 1st to the end of January. Let's say I do this every month. So you click here, then you make sure to click end date, and then you can click on 31, and then now this time range is selected. And you'll see here as well that the season of discovery is showing now in my sidebar here. And so that lets me know, okay, I have the season of discovery basically active. And I know that if I do any activities now that are related to exploration, that they will give me more points than usual. And so this is totally optional. This might be overkill for some. I thought it'd be fun to give you a way to create seasons of focus for certain types of activities. And it's in this settings page where you can make those adjustments. And so that already wraps up part 2 of my Notion tour for my Creative Compass. In the next and last part, I'll walk you through the professional work area, and I'll talk about how I use it to manage content creation, client work, and more. If you're already sold and you want this template, then you can grab it via the link in the description below. Till next time, see you in part 3.